Have you ever wondered how warfare has evolved over the centuries? Let's trace back to the dawn of warfare, where conflicts were as rudimentary as the tools used to wage them. Picture a world before the glint of steel, before the thunder of gunpowder. We're stepping back into the Stone and Bronze Ages, where the face of battle was vastly different from what we know today. The earliest known forms of warfare were likely little more than brutal skirmishes, with tribes fighting for territory, resources, or simply survival. The weapons of choice in these early conflicts were as basic as the world around them: stones, clubs, and spears. Imagine the sheer strength and skill it would take to land a lethal blow with such a rudimentary weapon. Yet this was the reality for our ancestors, who faced the grim specter of war with nothing more than what they could fashion from the world around them. But warfare was not just about the weapons. Tactics played an equally crucial role. Early warfare was a test of strength, yes, but also of strategy. Tribes would have to carefully choose when to strike, where to strike, and how to use the environment to their advantage. They would use their intimate knowledge of the land to ambush enemies or lure them into traps. These were not just battles, but games of survival where the cunning and resourceful held the advantage. Fast forward to the Bronze Age and we see the first glimmers of more sophisticated warfare. With the advent of metalworking, weapons became more varied and effective. Bronze swords, axes, and shields began to make their appearance on the battlefield. Yet, even as weaponry advanced, the fundamentals of warfare remained the same. Strength, strategy, survival, these were still the pillars of conflict. From these basic beginnings, warfare was set to undergo some significant transformations. As we move forward in time, we'll see how these early forms of conflict laid the groundwork for the complex and devastating wars of the future. But for now, let's linger in the dawn of warfare and remember the roots of conflict that have shaped our world. As civilizations advanced, so did their methods of war. The early warriors brandishing their stone weapons gave way to soldiers armed with sophisticated tools of metal. The evolution of warfare was now moving at a faster pace, bringing about a new era, the era of swords and shields. The sword, an emblem of power and status, became a soldier's loyal companion. It was not merely a weapon, but a symbol of courage, honor, and authority. Crafted with precision and care, these blades of iron and later steel were the heart of the battlefield. Alongside the rise of the sword, the shield came into prominence. Shields made from wood, leather, or metal served as a soldier's primary defense. They were not just barriers against enemy blows, but also offensive tools used to push back adversaries or create openings for sword strikes. Armor, too, played a pivotal role. From simple leather tunics to the intricate chainmail and plate armor, protection evolved. The aim was to balance the need for safety with the necessity for mobility. A knight in shining armor wasn't just a figure of romance, but a testament to the technological advancements of the time. But the evolution of warfare was not just about the tools. It was also about how they were wielded. With the advent of swords, shields, and armor came a change in combat tactics. Formation fighting, like the Greek phalanx or the Roman testudo, emerged. These techniques capitalized on the strength of the shield wall and the reach of the sword, allowing armies to hold their ground or advance with a formidable front. It was a dance of steel and strategy, a complex interplay of offense and defense. Each advancement in weaponry and armor led to a counter-advancement, a new technique or a new tool, creating a continuous cycle of evolution on the battlefield. The era of swords and shields was a significant chapter in the history of warfare. It laid the groundwork for the tactics and strategies we recognize today. With the advent of metalworking, warfare was about to change forever. As fortifications became more formidable, so did the techniques to conquer them. With the rise of castles and city walls, warfare evolved into a test of patience and strategy. The age of siege had begun. Sieges were no longer about the clash of swords or the skill of archers. They were about waiting, enduring, and outlasting the opponent. The open fields of battle were replaced by fortified walls and towering keeps, a shift that demanded a new approach to warfare. And so came the rise of siege engines. These were not just weapons, but marvels of engineering. The first of these, the battering ram, was as much a psychological weapon as a physical one. Imagine the dread instilled by the relentless thud of a battering ram against a castle's gates. The battering ram was simple, yet brutally effective. Then came the catapult, an instrument of terror that could hurl stones, fire, and even diseased animals over city walls. Its invention marked a significant advancement in siege warfare, allowing attackers to strike from a distance, safe from the defenders' arrows. But the evolution didn't stop there. The Middle Ages saw the development of even more sophisticated siege engines. The trebuchet, with its counterweight mechanism, could launch projectiles further and with greater force than any catapult. The siege tower, a mobile fortress, allowed attackers to scale the highest walls. These were not just weapons, but symbols of the changing face of warfare. Open battles were giving way to prolonged sieges, drawn-out affairs that could last for months, even years. The aim was no longer just to defeat the enemy, but to wear them down, to starve them out, to break their will to resist. The age of siege was a time of great innovation and strategic thinking. It was a time when warfare required not just strength and courage, but patience, endurance, and ingenuity. As warfare became more strategic, the need for more efficient weapons became evident. This need would ultimately lead to the invention of gunpowder, and with it, the dawn of a new era of warfare. But that's a story for another time. For now, let's appreciate the ingenuity and tenacity that marked the age of siege. The discovery of gunpowder was a game-changer in the history of warfare. Our journey through the evolution of warfare takes an explosive turn with the advent of this potent mixture. The origins of gunpowder are traced back to 9th century China, where it was initially used for medicinal and mystical purposes. However, it didn't take long for this powerful concoction to find its way onto the battlefield. Initially, gunpowder was used more as a psychological weapon. Imagine the terror of seeing a fiery flash, followed by a loud bang and a cloud of smoke. It was the stuff of nightmares. But the Chinese didn't stop at just scaring their enemies. They harnessed the power of gunpowder in the form of fire arrows. These were essentially fireworks attached to arrows, creating a primitive yet effective missile. As the centuries rolled on, gunpowder exploded across the globe, reaching Europe by the late 13th century. There, its destructive potential was realized fully. The Europeans took the concept of the fire arrow and supersized it, developing the cannon. These monstrous weapons could hurl large projectiles great distances, smashing through castle walls and ranks of soldiers alike. But the evolution of gunpowder weaponry didn't stop with the cannon. The handheld firearm was the next step, and it revolutionized tactics on the battlefield. Suddenly, an individual soldier could wield the power of a mini-cannon. This led to the development of new formations and strategies as commanders had to adapt to this deadly new technology. The firearm continued to evolve, becoming more reliable, more accurate, and more deadly. From the matchlock to the flintlock, from the musket to the rifle, each advancement in firearm technology pushed the boundaries of what was possible in warfare. Gunpowder changed the face of warfare, paving the way for modern conflicts. It was the spark that ignited a revolution in the art of war, a revolution that continues to this day. From the humble fire arrow to the most advanced modern firearms, the story of gunpowder is a tale of ingenuity, innovation, and the unending quest for power. The advent of industrialization and technology brought warfare into a new era. As the smoke cleared from the battlefields of the 19th century, new weapons of war emerged, forever changing the landscape of conflict. The First World War marked a pivotal moment in military history. Machine guns, previously relegated to the realm of science fiction, were now a terrifying reality. These rapid-fire weapons, capable of mowing down rows of soldiers, redefined the front lines. Tanks, once thought impossible, rumbled across battlefields, their steel armor impervious to traditional weapons. But it was not just the tools of war that changed. The strategies and tactics of warfare underwent a revolution. With the advent of aircraft, warfare took to the skies. Bombers and fighters were now crucial components of any military campaign. Warfare was no longer a matter of ground alone. The second half of the 20th century saw the rise of a new kind of warfare. Nuclear weapons, capable of obliterating entire cities, created a new form of deterrence, a terrifying balance of power known as mutually assured destruction. Yet even as the shadow of nuclear war loomed large, the nature of warfare continued to evolve. The invention of computers and the internet ushered in the age of cyber warfare. Now battles could be fought not only on land, sea, and air, but also in the virtual realm. Drones, once the stuff of science fiction, became a reality capable of precision strikes without risking human lives. Today, warfare is a complex tapestry of traditional and modern strategies, an intricate dance of power, technology, and human ingenuity. The face of conflict has changed dramatically, and it continues to evolve. Will we see a day when wars are fought entirely by machines? Or will the human element always be a vital component? From stones and spears to drones and cyber attacks, warfare has evolved dramatically over the centuries. As we look to the future, one thing is certain: the battlefield will continue to transform in ways we can only imagine.